Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode where we'll dive into the balancing act between passion and profession. Many of my mentees ask how much time I spend studying each day and worry that medical school means hitting the books 24/7, leaving little time for anything else. I hope this episode shows that it doesn't have to be that way. In fact, dedicating time outside of school to do things that you love can make you even more focused and ready to tackle your studies when the time comes. Today, we will be conducting this Real Talk interview at Method, a climbing gym located in Newark, New Jersey. Method has a cafe where you can order drinks and snacks and purchase gear for climbing. They welcome climbers of all skill levels and have many different boulder styles to choose from. As you can see here, they have boulders at an incline. They also have very high wall boulders, and you can use a rope to attach yourself for aid climbing. Method also offers classes depending on your skill levels from beginner to expert, as well as yoga classes and much more. So if you're in the New Jersey area, I highly recommend checking it out. Hello, everybody. My name is Rishta,
And I'm Raymond.
and welcome to Real Talk Med School. So today, Ray is here to talk to us about his love for climbing and also balancing medical school. So to begin, can you tell me a little bit about your background and where you grew up?
I grew up in San Francisco, California. Originally studied kinesiology in undergrad. That was the main goal of that is to like treat injuries because I was a track and field athlete back in the day, and that slowly evolved into like my love for medicine over time, and that's why I'm in medical school now.
Nice. And then how did you get into climbing?
So after I graduated college, I didn't have a track team to train with anymore. I was looking for a new sport, and my former coach that I was really close with, he was like, "Hey Ray, do you want to go bouldering with my kids?" And I was like, "Dude, what is bouldering?" But I have nothing to do, so I guess. And
Mm.
then the rest is history.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so how long would you say that you've been doing it now?
A little over 2 years now.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And how do you like it?
I'm hooked. This
Yeah.
is my second life.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We
Yeah.
see that like on Instagram and everything, and you spend most of your days here, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of times when I'm not studying or I need a study break, this is the place I go.
Mhm. And so, how are you able to keep up with climbing while also having to deal with the responsibilities of medical school?
Yeah, it's a lot of balancing, like a lot of mental balancing of like how much studying I'll need to do by the end of the day, with what my training plans are with climbing. So it really depends on how difficult I find the material.
Hmm.
So I think in the beginning of NB when we were hit with neuroanatomy out of the blue, like we had no idea, like we had SP part two, like anatomy part two.
Yeah.
I climbed a little bit less because I need to dedicate more time to studying,
Hmm.
but it wasn't like I completely eliminated climbing. I still climb, but just spent less time at the gym. So like my usual sessions, like maybe like 2 hours, three if I'm hanging out with friends. I cut it down to like maybe an hour and a half.
Hmm. So then I'm assuming that you kind of found your flow with the anatomy and everything, and then you were able to pick it back up.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Like once I feel like I'm in a comfortable spot with the material, then um, I think you said this once too. It's like I'm more of a climber than I'm a medical student.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, after anatomy, when we first took anatomy in the beginning of the school year, I remember that I was stressing out like every day. I was studying every single day, like maybe like 10 to 12 hours, to be honest with you. And then I remember after anatomy, we went to this party and I saw you, and I was like, Ray, like you passed. Like I was shocked because he was going to the gym every single day. It just seemed like he wasn't even studying. And he's like, yeah, I was able to keep up with that work life balance. And that really motivated me and inspired me to do the same. And I feel like now that I've been doing the same and like hitting the gym and like hanging out with friends and family, I'm actually doing better than when I was cramming 10, 12 hour study days. So I think that it's like super important to continue doing the things that keep us grounded so that we can have the time to study and then fully like commit to that when the time is. So
Yeah, I think you put it really nicely too, because that's exactly how I feel. especially when studying for summatives, you're just spending so much time at home or wherever you study, just cramming the material into your head.
Yeah.
There's a point where there's your brain is so, I guess, overfilled with information that you need a break.
Mhm.
And climbing is a great way to do that because after I'm done, I feel a little bit more refreshed. And it's not like I lost the material from my head while I was climbing. It's still in there, but I'm
Yeah.
just letting it digest. If that
Yeah.
makes any sense.
No, that totally
Yeah.
does. And so, do you feel like climbing has ever interfered with your medical school assignments or responsibilities at all?
Not really. Yeah, I don't. I think climbing has only had a positive effect to medical school.
Hmm.
I don't think I'll do as well in school if I didn't have an outlet.
Yeah.
It's not just like physical, right? But it's also creative outlet, as we were talking about, like how everyone climbs a little bit differently, and
Hmm.
you find your own path. And
And
of
yeah, you've
course, yeah.
actually been killing it too. Like I remember one time you were looking at your grades near me, and I was like, he is killing it. Like upper 80s, 90s, like, and you're still able to do the things that you love. It's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to one of my mentees, and they were like, we see a lot of influencers on Instagram doing these like long hour study days. So, can you give us some tips on how somebody can study effectively while also maintaining the hobbies that they love to do?
Yeah. I was never really a fan of like long days studying. I think for me, I just need to move at least, like do some sort of exercise or movement at
Hmm.
least once a day. I could never sit for like 4 or 5 hours plus and only study, right? So I think my advice for people that want to study and maintain their hobbies, it's like find find the time where you usually feel fatigued after long productivity hours, and that's usually a good stopping point to have fun and relax.
Hmm.
And it's been working for me for the past year and a half in
Hmm.
medical school.
Well, what do you do exactly? Like, if you could tell us a little bit about your study routine, because I know that you're very big into sketchy. Are you very big into Anki or Ninja Nerd or anything else?
I tried using Anki, but it never really worked for me.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's very specific to the type of material you're trying to learn.
Hmm.
So if it's rote memorization, like if you're trying to attach a antibiotic to a bacteria,
Hmm.
then Anki is a great way to do that because it just helps you like memorize A with B.
Hmm.
But for other blocks that we've been through, like HA, where it's a lot of cardio, pulm, and renal,
Yeah.
there's less memorization, but more concept that you need to know.
Hmm.
So I found the best way for me to learn concepts was through like boot camp. Sketchy is another good one, and reading first aid was is good too because it gives you like very concise information for you to like branch out, I guess, like apply the
Yeah.
material to a test question.
Yeah. Boot camp has definitely been a lifesaver. So I will always advocate for getting a membership to that.
Boot camp university.
Yeah, no, literally. And so now we're going off to clinicals, right? So how do you believe that you'll be able to maintain this hobby with having to put in more hours into schooling?
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of sacrifice on the end of my hobbies, right?
Yeah.
But after speaking to some upperclassmen, they mentioned that they still maintain it by having one day of a week to themselves to take care of themselves. So I mean, of course, that's not as much as I'm doing having now,
Yeah.
but at least there's still a day for me to relax, and like that's a lot for me already. Because originally going into um, rotations,
Hmm.
I was like, oh my gosh, like I will not be able to have fun and like live
Yeah.
my life, but it doesn't really turn out to be that way.
Mm.
Yeah, they mentioned that on the weekend they'll spend one day, like they'll even drive out to upstate New York to climb, which is like a whole day trip,
Hmm.
and then the second day, like Sunday, they would use that day to study for shell for like anything they need to do.
Right. Okay, yeah. So then you're gonna try to keep up with the hobby as much as you can,
Exactly.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how do you think that climbing and maintaining this hobby will make you a better doctor in the future?
Wow. Um, I think part of being a good doctor too is like to know how to take care of yourself, right?
Hmm.
And like this sport definitely is a great way for me to take care of not just my physical health but my mental health too, because I could put my mind into thinking about how to climb this route, how to solve this puzzle that's on the wall. Um, and I think along with that too, like a lot of the problem solving of climbing is also kind of like medicine too.
Hmm.
You have to think of different angles of approaching like a clinical vignette, for example.
Yeah. Wow, I definitely wouldn't have thought of it that way, but I can definitely see how you see it that way. And yeah, it's something that keeps your mind going, but also is good for your body, good for your mental health. And I think this is like an amazing and great hobby that you have.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like for example, if we're looking at that boulder over there, right?
Yeah.
If you're moving your right hand and it doesn't work, it makes you off balance, and you're gonna have to adjust in some other way to
Mm,
make that movement work for you, like maybe your left hand or like adjusting your feet. So I think a lot of that is in like the problem solving of medicine too, like
yeah.
adjusting like different angles of approaching an illness or a pathology.
Mm, yeah, 100%. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you answering all of my questions. And until next time, bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
I hope Ray's dedication to his hobby inspires pre-meds and medical students to continue pursuing their passions while in school. A great education shouldn't mean giving up what you love. Instead, it can be an opportunity to use your interests to enrich your learning and development. Also, Raymond is sponsored by Rugni, a company dedicated to climbing gear. Use code Raymond for an exclusive discount on your order.